Mother Nature's been quite temperamental this spring in the Philadelphia area. Today was a case in point. Earlier today it was beautiful. Then it got cloudy and windy, and then it started to rain. And finally the rain is out of the area, but it is cool tonight. But it's a good thing because the gates are open, and the fans coming through will receive the MLB Network reusable totes. It's Red Goes Green Night, sponsored by Citizens Bank, as the Phils take on the Miami Marlins. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Matt Stairs. We get set for tonight's ball game. Cole Hamels is getting ready to go, and Cole is trying to settle in and put together his first good start of the 2015 season and not give up as many home runs.
Well, the big thing for tonight is the location. He has to locate the fastball. It's been really hurting him this year. He's been leaving the fastball out over the middle of the plate. His cutter's been getting a little big this year. It's a little loopy like a slider. But you can see the numbers this year. Every 9.4 at-bats has been getting up a home run. He just has to relax, be able to get that fastball inside. The more fastballs he throws inside makes the changeup even better. What I notice here, Chu set up low and away. He pulls his fastball inside. When you're overthrown, that's what happens. And instead of just allowing the two-seamer once again here up in the zone, he just needs to start mixing the curveball and take his time with the fastball. He's kind of rushing him a little bit. Everyone knows he has a tremendous changeup, but these guys are jumping all over the home runs this year. He's given up 7. And all the home runs this year have been given up are 3 pitches or less. 6 with fastballs, 1 with changeups, so they want to attack him early, knowing that he's going to throw fastballs early and changeups later on in the count.
That home run by Yunel Escobar was the first time in Cole Hamels' career that somebody had hit a home run against him on the first pitch of the game. All right, so what does his pitching coach think about Cole Hamels? Well, Greg Murphy got a chance to catch up with Bob McClure.
All right, thanks very much, Tom. Yep, here with Bob McClure and talking a little Cole Hamels. We'll get a chance to see him on the hill tonight, and everybody looking forward to that, I'm sure. And as you guys work through the week and he works through his bullpens, what are the things that he's been concentrating on in hopes of getting better?
Well, one is just staying aggressive and and basically, staying engaged as far as making each pitch count. I think that when you see guys with his kind of competitiveness, I see it in Kershaw. You'll see it in different guys that are really good. Is that they actually don't have a lot of respect for hitters, Yeah. And so that being said, what happens is because they know they're good, they know they're better than the guy, and you want them all thinking like that. But what sometimes that leads to, if you're not really focused on the pitch you're going to make, is you get a little bit kind of lackadaisical, and you're not so much worried about location as just, here, see if you can hit this one. And so basically it's been more mislocation than anything.
Is it a question of command? I mean, his walks this year are up for Cole Hamels. A guy like Cole Hamels, you just don't see that. Is that a concern, or is it just something you think with a little bit more focus he'll be able to fix pretty easy?
I think he's going to fix that very easily. He usually has kind of a rough spring and a little bit of a rough April. Last year we didn't have him until, after April or at the end of April. So, he's just, for me, his body and everything is getting in tune. And, we're going to see Cole do what he does best pretty soon here.
All right, well, the best thing about baseball is the starters get a chance to do that. Every 5 days, Cole Hamels will get his chance again tonight. Tom, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. He'll be opposed tonight by former Phil prospect Jared Cozart, who's making his first start here at Citizens Bank Park, but in a Marlins uniform. It's his 3rd start overall. Well, we mentioned this is Game 2 for the Phils and the Marlins. Last night, Ryan Howard, his first home run of the year. He's back in the same spot. We hope he hits it in the same spot. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. By Citizens Bank, one deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at ibx.com. fired up, and we are ready to go for a little baseball tonight. The Phils and the Miami Marlins. Cole Hamels is busy warming up out on the mound, getting ready to face the Fish once again. Let's take a look at the Marlins lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Leading it off at second base, D. Gordon, then Martin Prado. Giancarlo Stanton will bat third, followed by Michael Morse and Marcell Ozuna. Real Muto, the catcher, will bat sixth. Ichiro bats seventh. Adeiny Echeverria will bat eighth. And batting ninth at pitching is Jared Cozart. They'll face Cole Hamels, 0-2 on the year, an ERA of 5. 7 home runs allowed so far this year.
Well, it has. He's come off all solo home runs, so we need to get the fastball down in the zone.
Well, there you go. You said the opposition swinging aggressively.
Yep, in the Budweiser scouting report, 90 to 93 mile an hour fastball, cutter change curve, 9-14 to 3.17 ERA versus the Fish.
D. Gordon takes high. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gordon last night 2 for 5. He had a stolen base, but he was also picked off first. Overall hitting .390 on the year, which is 4th best in the National League. Boy, he was way out in front of that cutter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hamels' lifetime 108 wins, 85 losses. Swing and a miss. He got him. Well, that was not a slurvy kind of cutter. That was a fastball that just ran outside.
It's a very nice cutter. The real late break, and one thing McClure said his cutter was a little big, looking like a slider. And now all of a sudden we go with the Nissan keys to the game. And my first key is Hamels to locate the fastball, which he's done so far. And the second one is be ready for a fastball from Cozart, because he throws 87.1% fastballs.
First pitch to Prado is taken for a strike. It's 0-1. I'm interested to see Jared Cozart in person, the former Phil prospect who went to the Astros. Foul ball, 0-2. Well, he's come out throwing everything but his changeup. That was the first curveball of the night, but fastball, cutter, and curveball. And I guess that's a good thing if he can get through a couple of batters without throwing his best pitch.
Yeah, he has it in the back pocket, so he can bust it out when he needs to.
Out to right field, Grady Sizemore is there, and he puts it away for the second out. 7 pitches, 2 outs here in the first, and that'll bring Stanton to the plate. Giancarlo Stanton hitting .260 with 3 home runs and 12 runs batted in. He hit an absolute bomb in last night's ball game. Jerome Williams gave it up, and it was Cody Ashe who kind of made Jerome laugh a little bit about it with his description of that home run. Up high, 1 ball and no strikes. Here it is.
Well, here it is last night, the little hanging slider, and straightaway center, second bullpen. Very impressive.
Over 450 feet. It's our second home run that we've seen the opposition hit this week that went over 450 feet. 1 ball, no strikes to Stanton. Curveball. That's where the ball landed, right on top of the mound. And we mentioned last night that Stanton's wearing that face guard most of the time. We did not know whether he would wear it against a left-hander, and our question has been answered. Just doesn't feel like he sees the lefties as well yet with that mask on, so he's going without it. Curveball. That's not a bad pitch. Maybe it was high, but that's not a bad pitch to a very big man. Jerome Williams, 6 innings last night, 2 earned runs, got the victory. And change up down low, ball 4. And Stanton draws a walk. I believe you can hear in the background, if you listen close enough, the dulcet tones of Larry Boa getting on the home plate umpire. And I can't blame him on that one pitch.
I think a lot of times the umpires will get fooled with the curveball because he doesn't throw it a lot, and when he does, it is a big bender, and it surprises a lot of umpires.
Mike Morris swings at the first pitch and fouls it away. All right, so we're not surprised that they're going after, except for Prado, going after Hamels aggressively in this inning.
Well, and I think with Cole, he wants to establish the first pitch strikes. And then all of a sudden afterwards you can go with the curveball change. But he really wants to get ahead today in this game. So you're going to see a very aggressive Fish team, but they're swinging early today. And real early.
And another curveball, too.
Which I like. I absolutely love Cole's curveball. He's thrown it more today than I think he's thrown it more this year so far. He has a real late break. He throws two different ones. He'll throw that big 12-6 curveball, and that one there a little harder. But I think it's a tremendous pitch to go with his cutter, his changeup, and the great fastball.
Yeah, the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him with another curveball. He threw him 3 curves in this at-bat. 2 strikeouts for Hamels. No runs, no hits. 1 man left over at first. Hamels has gotten through the top of the first inning using probably his 3rd pitch, the curveball. We'll go to the bottom of the first. The Phillies coming up for the first time. It's a great sign to see a little glow of the sunshine in Center City. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Leading it off in center field, Odubel Herrera, then Revere and Utley. Carlos Ruiz bats cleanup. Cody Ashley hits 5th. Ryan Howard 6th. Then the bottom third of Sizemore, Galvis, and Hamels. And yes, that is indeed the same lineup as last night, except for the starting pitcher. And they will face right-hander Jared Cozart. 0-1 with an ERA of 4.76 so far this year. Very good arm. He's a guy that he really wants to pitch well here tonight, that's for sure. I mean, pitchers want to do it all the time. They want to pitch well. But he's, as you can see, the Budweiser scouting report, Phillies 38th round pick in 2008. Very good fastball, curve, change. Take that away because he throws 87% fastballs. Well, he's thrown 2 fastballs to Odubel Herrera, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike to him. Herrera's hit it 4 straight. He was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. One ball, 1 strike to Herrera. Low and in, 2 balls and 1 strike. Pulls that one through the hole on the right side, a base hit. So Odubel's now hit in 5 straight ball games. And he gets things started here for the Phils in the bottom of the first inning. It continues, Murph, to be an excellent sign to watch him continue to adjust to each new pitcher that he is facing in his first year in the big leagues.
You know, you forget that this is a kid that hasn't batted against any pitchers above the Double-A level until this year. Ryan Sandberg was asked about him this week, and he said, really, it's kind of amazing. It doesn't matter who's throwing the pitch to him. This is a kid that can just hit at every level. He's 15 for 48 now. Sandberg was asked, well, what do you think makes him so good? And he said, well, honestly, he does all the things that you need a hitter to do. He said he uses all the fields. He's very tough when he's got 2 strikes on him, and he's just a guy that keeps the bat through the zone for a long period of time. He's got a lot of moving parts, as Matt and Ben have pointed out over the course of spring training and the season, but it works for him, and it's working so far with a batting average over 300 to get the season underway.
I thought the thing that was really impressive, what Sandberg said yesterday about him, he said, I'm noticing that he's now starting to take his pregame ritual into the game. He's starting to do something to prepare himself for the game on an everyday basis. The same thing, too.
Well, you have to.
That's back to the box, and Cozart might be able to turn 2. There's 1, and not in time to turn the double play.
And just to finish the quick note is that if you're working in BP and you're working on a bad swing, you go in the cage and you're struggling that day, it's going to carry over into the game. But now all of a sudden, if you work on that line drive swing, left center, right center, whatever it is, and staying through the ball, a lot of swings per day are going to carry it to a game situation. And that's what's nice about it, that he has a game plan, he's sticking with it, and so far it's worked really, really well.
And add to that, Tom, then after he's done taking his swings, he goes out and really shags fly balls in center field as if he was playing a game. Ryan was talking about him going pole to pole to try and track balls down and get jumps on them, because remember, he's learning a new position as a defensive player as well. So he's really getting his work in, and they've been impressed so far with what he's done.
All right, Murph. Well, here is Chase Utley, who was hitless in his last 21 at-bats. I think everybody knows that by now. He was a big topic today when Ryan Sandberg was talking to the members of the Philadelphia media. He was asked whether he was thinking about moving him out of the 3-hole, and Sandberg didn't blink. He said no.
Good answer.
So 2 balls and no strikes to Utley after Herrera was forced out at second base on the ground ball by Ben Revere. Utley lays. Boy, that looked like the same pitch, didn't it?
Actually, I think it was farther out.
All right, so Utley laid off what is now a strike. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Lowest average versus outside pitches. Chase at 0.74. Steve Pearce, who had a great year last year. Utley had a 261 average in the last 4 seasons against those outside pitches.
Well, and it all has to do with timing. His right hip is leaving the zone a little bit early. That means the bat comes through the zone too quick.
That one's lined out toward right center field. That was perfect. That swing cut off by Stanton. Revere will go to third. He'll hang out there. So Utley breaks the 0 for 21 stretch with a single to right center field, and that puts runners on first and third here in the bottom of the first inning.
Well, everyone knows he has a nice short swing, outer half pitch. Right here, I watch his right hip and stays closed, makes the contact through, then his hips explode. And that's what the problem is right now, is that his right hip was leaving a little early. Well, right there was perfect. And that's why you start thinking left center, right center, and change it a little bit and drive the ball that way, and it'll keep it closed a little longer.
Well, let's see if the Phils can get that run home from third with 1 man down here in the bottom of the first. Ruiz is the batter. 0 for 3 in last night's ball game. He chose bunt, bunts it foul. So it's 0-1. That's a struggling number 4 hitter who does that, Matt, I would think. You don't think he was asked to do that, do you?
I don't know. I mean, that's no answer for you, Tom. I apologize.
I appreciate your honesty. Shoots that one foul. But it's no balls and 2 strikes. Marlins infield sets up to try to turn 2. Carlos takes in tight. 1 ball, 2 strikes to him. Kobayashi's on deck. Chopper over to third. Coming home is Revere. They'll try to turn 2. There's 1 and 2. And the side is retired. Utley tried to blow up D. Gordon at second base, but Gordon stood his ground. 5-4-3 in the double play. Phillies leave 1. We'll go to the second in a scoreless game. And all women 15 and older will receive the Phillies wristlet when they come to the ballpark as the Phillies take on the New York Mets. There is a picture of it right there. Solid giveaway. Tickets can be purchased for that series against the Mets by going to Phillies.com. Marcell Ozuna will lead it off, and he takes inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to him. Ozuna last night was 1 for 4 with a double. Phillies trying to hand the Marlins their 6th consecutive loss tonight. Outside, 2-1. Mike Redmond, the manager of the Marlins, under a little scrutiny because of his team's start. Although his pitching is nowhere near the level of a division leader, at least at this point, whether it be the bullpen or the starters. The bullpens have been overworked and the starters haven't gone deep in the games.
Well, and it comes back to where the manager put out for a lineup what you were given for the season to start with.
Yeah. 3-2 pitch. That one is hit back toward the middle, a base hit, so the first hit for the Marlins, a single by Marcell Ozuna. And he's aboard. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser is still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Budweiser rooftop is drenched in sunshine right now. Sun has popped out here in the top of the second. JT Real Muto is the batter, and he takes strike 1. It's 0-1. We showed you the rain earlier. Now we said it's going to cool off tonight. 55 degrees at game time. A little breeze out of the southwest, 9 miles per hour. missed his spot.
Well, it's right down the middle.
It looked like it was right down the middle. No plate umpire Toby Basner just said that pitch was outside. Yeah. 2-1. Foul tip, but it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Such a money pitch for him, for Cole Hamels. When he needs to throw a strike or a swing and miss, he can rely on that changeup almost whenever he needs to.
Got him again with the changeup. 3rd strikeout for Hamels. Particularly with a younger hitter. I mean, veteran guys go after that pitch, but with a younger hitter like JT here.
Well, and it has the same rotation as this 2-seamer, but 9-8 miles an hour slower, same arm speed, same location, just never gets there.
So with 1 away, here's Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro was 2 for 4 in last night's ball game with a run scored. First pitch outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Ichiro is 1 for 3 lifetime against Hamels. It was a lifetime ago that he faced him. Doesn't seem to matter though. Two more hits last night put him over 2,850 in his big league career. Matt, could you ever hit moving your feet the way players who were trained in Japan like Ichiro hit the ball?
No, I couldn't. Tremendous eye-hand coordination.
No, he's taken the last 2 pitches, but he basically is moving as those pitches come toward the plate. Hamels has lacked a little more command here in the 2nd. Yeah, that's ball 4. I think somebody's going to chirp at Toby Basner, and he's not going to like it pretty soon. Because Hamels certainly thought that was a strike. So Danny Echeverria will be the batter. Echeverria had a hit in last night's ball game, also scored a run. Hitting .250 on the year, a home run and 7 RBIs. And Ruiz will go out to talk to Hamels. He's kind of missing with those pitches in the same spot. His splits aren't great. 31 pitches with 1 out here in the 2nd. First inning was fine. This inning here, he's got 10 balls, 6 strikes.
Well, you could add a couple of strikes and a couple of balls out there because the umpire has missed a few,
yeah.
But he is fighting himself right now to find the strike zone, especially against Ichiro.
There's a fastball in the inner half. It's 1-1. Echeverria will be followed by Cozart, who's in the on-deck circle. Off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2. Well, that certainly seems to be working here tonight.
That it is.
Over to first base, a foul ball.
And that's the type of swings that hitters will take. The 9-1-1 swing, when you're sitting change up, you get the heater at 93, and you're just hoping you foul it off.
It's scary, though, for the right side of the infield because Howard was way off the line on that. I mean, look where he's playing. Lifted foul and out of play, and it remains 1-2. That's Ozuna at second base. Ichiro is at first base. Mike Redmond's team watched the Phillies get runners on first and second in their half of the first and weren't able to score. Let's see if the Phillies can get that same double play. Outside, 2-2.
See if he backs it up with a back-to-back changeup right here.
Off the end of the bat, slowly to second base. Utley's got it, flips to second, so they get the middle runner. And the putout goes 4-6, and that'll bring Kozar to the plate after a 7-pitch at bat. Well, he can see himself through this inning now if he can just get Kozar, who was an excellent athlete in high school. In fact, hit almost 500 his senior year in high school. Now, that doesn't dictate success in the big leagues, of course.
2 for 4.
2 for 4 in his career. Oh, no. No, he was a pretty good hitter in high school. I think he broke Jay Buhner's records, offensive records in high school. Yeah. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
That's the confidence you have in your catcher right there, knowing that he calls the no balls, 2 strikes, changeup once it's down in the dirt, and trust in Chooch or Cameron Rupp when he's catching that they will block it for you.
Hamels walking off the mound thinking that was strike 3. Again, it was a pretty close pitch.
We see Chooch set up inside.
That's a strike. That is a strike. I mean, it's not where he catches it, and he almost caught it on the inside part of the plate. So now the 2-2 with runners on first and third. Hits it to the right side. Utley's got it. Can Hamels get there? Off his glove, a run will score. Over to third base will go Echeverria, and it's 1-0 Marlins on top. They're going to score that in E1 on Hamels and no RBI.
Ryan has a nice try, but Chase makes a nice play and gives him a very good feed. A little bit to his right, but if you ask Cole, right there he's trying to break it down at the same time and trying to find first base. Should never matter because the pitch before that was a strike.
Yeah, it's been a floating strike zone so far. Bob McClure's out to the mound. And he's chatting with Hamels. I think he's waiting for Toby Basner, too, to come out toward the mound. And here comes Basner. Listen, we don't always get on umpires, but you can see it. I mean, those pitches are pretty close. There's Bob McClure. He is saying something to the home plate umpire. Basner let him have his piece.
It's a good visit.
So 1-0 Marlins, and now D. Gordon's the batter. Not a bad idea for a pitching coach to do that every once in a while.
Oh, absolutely. I like it.
Gordon struck out his first time up. Shows bunt. Hamels definitely wanted this pitch. Oh boy, that's a strike. Pasner just said to the dugout, I'm not going to be doing this the whole night, or you're not going to be doing this the whole night. Somebody's going to get run at some point in this game. Back toward the middle. Utley gets to it, sliding, flips to second in time. Outstanding play. Side is retired. 4-6 on the putout at second base. The Marlins do get an unearned run. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning. It's the Marlins 1, Phillies nothing. With Joe Conklin and John Runyon on Breakfast on Broad, presented by Virtua Joint Replacement Institute. Tomorrow morning, 6 to 8, over on the Comcast Network. Last of the second. Tulips are looking good, Matt. You did a nice job with those.
Thank you. Took me a while, but
they're not going to know what to do, though, as the temperature continues to drop tonight here at the ballpark. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Jared Cozart has a 1-0 lead. Cody Ashe will lead it off. It'll be Ashe, Ryan Howard, and Grady Sizemore. Ashe 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Cozart in his last outing allowed 5 earned runs, 7 hits, and 5 1/3. And Ashe fouls that off. That was against the Mets. They lost that game 7-5. In the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
just a matter of time before Cody Ashe learns how to hit the ball in the air. He's still learning the pitchers, the techniques of how they're pitching him. Big fan of his swing. His setup, his quiet, quick, very good bat speed. You know, when he gets on a roll and starts learning how to elevate the ball with authority, it's going to be very impressive.
Whacks that one foul toward Juan Samuel. Well, he's hit in 3 straight games. His average is at .341 right now. Whether he settles in the 5 hole, that remains to be seen. I think this lineup continues to be in flux. But after 7 runs last night, they're content with it the way it is here. Now, when you say hit the ball in the air a little bit more, what does he have to change to do that?
Nothing. He's going to get a little deeper. He's going to maybe pick his areas. And I don't mean hitting the ball in the air, strictly to right field.
Right.
I believe he has the power. We can hit one over the W.B. Mason in left center, or he has the gap-to-gap power. And I think when he backs the ball up a little bit and picks certain areas to go ahead and swing for it.
Well, there you go. Swung on and hit deep. That one is gone. A home run for Cody Ashe. And it's a 1-1 ball game. After an 8-pitch at bat, he ties this game up. Cody Ashe has just won $100 from Marcus King of Royersford, Pennsylvania, all part of our McDonald's home run jackpot.
And that's what I got goosebumps right there, him hitting the home run, but he has such a short swing at the fastball inside, and he knows the strike zone so well. So now when you get in a situation where you can do that, is it going to happen all the time? No. But when you get a pitch to do it, go for it and try to elevate it.
Second home run of the year for Ashe, and that'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate, who homered in last night's ball game. And Howard breaks his bat, hits one on one hop out to the right side. Prado is there. And that'll go down as a 5-3 in the books.
Let me rephrase something, but try to elevate, because I don't want people to understand that you drop the backside, you swing uphill. But when you elevate a ball, you get the ball, you get it back a little bit. We talk about how when the ball gets back deeper in the zone, and then when you make the contact, your hips then go through the ball. Like Chase hit the right center. Here's that bat. I don't want people to think I want you to swing uphill, but when you go down through the ball and elevate, pick your spots.
Grady Sizemore hitting a $115. Sizemore pulls it right side. D. Gordon to his left. And there are 2 outs. Well, let's take a look at Cody Ashe's swing one more time.
Well, what I like about it, he has tremendous balance right here with his front side. And his hands are nice and quiet. His shoulders are nice and relaxed. So as the pitch starts coming in, he has a very good load with his hands going straight back towards the umpire. The foot and the hands have the separation. The front foot, when he lands right there, it's so soft right there, like you're landing on an egg carton. And that's what you want to do as a hitter. Strong backside, front side, very weak. That generates the power. So when you look at a hitter, when a hitter goes all of a sudden he does this nice, easy here, it's when the guys get the hard front foot, they do this, all of a sudden their head starts going towards the pitcher. If you think about sitting back and relaxing and toe tapping nice and easy, like Cody did, that allows you to get through the ball quicker and to be able to elevate a ball. And that's when you think about hitting the ball this way. You're coming down through here, going through the zone. That's the carry you get.
Right.
I don't want people thinking this way, but strong backside, front foot, nice and soft, generates the power.
Freddie Galvis to left center field. And Marcell Ozuna calls off Ichiro to make the catch. Inning is over, but the Phils tie it up. They do so on Cody Ashe's second home run of the season. Again, this was an 8-pitch at bat. Ashe winning the battle. Pulling that into the seats in right field. So we're all even at 1 as we go to the third here in Philadelphia. For all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, the question is, which two Marlins pitchers did Ben Davis hit home runs off in his career? Which two Marlins pitchers did Ben? Well, we're going to ask Ben a Matt Stairs question next time he's on the air.
Can I call a friend?
He'll probably text you at some point if he remembers. Answer will be revealed in just a little bit.
What year? I did not say in there, did it?
It did not say it in there. Prado takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Now you were laughing. Does that mean one was a position player?
I'm laughing because I don't think there's any chance you're going to be able to get it. High chopper to third. One away here in the 3rd inning. Yeah, that'll bring Stanton to the plate. I mentioned before the story with Jerome Williams and Cody Ashe. The way it was described, Giancarlo Stanton's home run was that it was an international flight and a first-class ticket. There's a strike, and it's 0-1.
That is a strike.
Broke his bat. Utley is there. And there are 2 outs. Pieces went flying. The biggest part of it never left Stanton's hands. So 2 away, 2 quick outs, and Mike Morse will be the hitter. Morse struck out his first time up. 6 for 25 now, lifetime against Hamels.
I'm going to need a hint on what year Ben Davis hit those home runs.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a hint when we get there, but I don't think it's going to help you. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tell you the Major League scoreboard, the Cardinals and Nationals battling down in D.C. Colton Wong is a 2-run home run. Cards are leading it 4-0. The game's in the top of the 3rd. Inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Came back with a fastball, and he hit it foul down the right field line.
Amazing. Through the first time facing Mike Morris, he threw him 3 curveballs. And as a hitter, you start thinking, okay, when's he going to throw it to me? 2 fastballs later, over the right field dugout, or over the Phillies dugout, he's got to be coming here pretty soon.
So would you get back with another fastball?
Fastball inside.
Well, they go outside with it. It's 3-2. Marcell Ozuna is the batter in the on-deck circle. Broke his bat. Over to Utley. That one flying right past Cole Hamels. 4-3 on the putout. Side is retired in order. We've played 2.5 here in Philadelphia. It's the Marlins 1 with an unearned run, and the Phillies 1. A homer by Cody Ashe. Park, and the Phillies have done such a great job with the environment, helping with the environment, some of the things that they have done. There are vendors that are all along the concourse. In fact, there are 10 different vendors who are introducing certain things that will help better the environment here in the Delaware Valley, whether it be energy conservation, solar heating, or how to grow your own food, things like that. The Schuylkill Center, which we'll hear more about that in a little bit, they also have a table. So it's all part of Red Goes Green night here at Citizens Bank Park. All fans coming to the ballpark receive the reusable tote. And how about this, Matt? There's even a garbage can that floats along the concourse.
No, silly. Ben's in there.
We would never be able to fit in there. No balls at 2 strikes. He does have Ben's hair. Imagine having one of those at home following your kids around.
That'd be unbelievable.
See if Waste Management had to say any of those that they can sell. Hamels takes low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cozart picks up the strikeout. It's his first of the day. So Hamels is retired. We go back to the top of the order, and Odubel Herrera. Herrera singled through the right side his first time up. He's now 15 for 48 on the year. His average has slipped over 300 at 313 as this at bat gets underway. Lays off, and it's 0-1. This is his 7th game as the leadoff hitter. I think we'll see him there in the foreseeable future. I don't think there's any tinkering going on with this Phillies lineup, at least when it comes to the leadoff batter.
Well, the nice thing, they have 2 leadoff hitters. They want Ben to lead off or Herrera.
0-2.
But I really like the 1-2 combination, especially when Ben starts to get hot with his hitting. We saw last night the way they run the bases, steal some bases. Now they won't steal bases like the 2 that remind me of is Delino DeShields and Marquise Grissom back in the Expo days.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to go Juan Pierre Luis Castillo, but that's actually 2 pretty good ones right there. One ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cozart. And there are 2 outs here in the 3rd. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Two outs. Here's Ben Revere. Revere reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Shows bunt, takes strike 1. Ground ball right side. D. Gordon hurries the throw to first, and the Phillies go down quietly 6 in a row. Retired by Cozart. We are finished with our first 3 here in Philadelphia. 1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. And buy the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. A nice cool night here in Philadelphia. The Phils and the Marlins even at 1 as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Well, in between innings, that is Lieutenant Commander Matt Bellina, who was diagnosed with ALS a little more than a year ago, who was changing the bases here at Citizens Bank Park. A former naval aviator, still wearing his naval jacket. We had a chance to meet him during the off season. What a tremendous guy. And unfortunately is now in a battle against ALS, which of course the Phillies have embraced that battle for so many years. And it's nice to see Matt. He was at a luncheon that a lot of the Phillies employees were at this past off season, as that ball is rocketed into right field, a base hit for Ozuna. And just to hear him say a very few words when he went up to the podium was something that was very moving. When the Phillies were honored by the ALS chapter for their work, their 25-year work in the fight against ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Well, it's been amazing how the Philadelphia Phillies have been involved with the ALS for all these years.
Incredible.
It's something that we look forward to getting involved every year with. Even as broadcasters, we enjoy it.
Yeah, my time here, not only have we been involved with the ALS festival, but also the live auction for a number of years. I always thought that was kind of cool, being an auctioneer. There's so many talented ones in this area, and to do that was something pretty special to help a great cause. Real Muto takes down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Real Muto struck out his first time up. Ozuna takes a short lead off first. Going back every time Hamels comes to the plate. Cole has been called for 2 balks this year. He kind of tinkered with his move last season. The last balk, we were talking about the fact that he had gone past the plane. They were talking about the fact that he lifted off the pitcher's plate on the mound. I think it was more the move that we showed than anything else.
He lifted off the
plate, the rubber. I don't know. That's what the Nationals said the next day. It was more about where his foot was, his lead foot or lead leg. Breaking ball inside, 2-2. The only thing I could think of is that they were saying that the lead foot broke past the plate when they say it broke the plate. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
It was just an odd way to describe it as that ball gets past Howard into right field. Ozuna holds up at second. That puts runners on first and second. Well, tonight is Red Goes Green night here at Citizens Bank Park, sponsored by the folks at Citizens Bank. And in honor of that, Greg Murphy is with 2 very special friends.
I am indeed, Tom. Say hello to Damian Ruffner from the Schuylkill Center in Roxborough, Philadelphia section. And also say hi to Jackson. Tell us a little bit about Jackson, who is here tonight, a great horned owl, right?
Yes, Jackson's a great horned owl that was hit by a car. So our rehab clinic takes in over 3,000 animals every year, and some of them are deemed non-releasable, which means they'd be a danger to themselves if they were released out of the wild. So we use them for educational purposes. So he's places like this, and he's teaching Philadelphia about the wildlife that's right here in their backyards.
Now, I tried to explain to Jackson that I'm more afraid of him than he is of me, so he can just stay right there on Damian's arm. But it really is amazing when you look at a wild creature like Jackson up close, and he's unable to fly, but he has a purpose at the Schuylkill Center because he teaches some young owlets what they need to do, does he not?
That's right. So any juvenile great horned owls that come in, Jackson actually becomes a surrogate father to them. He teaches them how to be owls in the wild, teaches them how to hunt, and more importantly, teaches them how to be afraid of humans.
That's very interesting. Now, I guess he's a sports fan. He's obviously a Temple Owl fan, right? Yes. Not a St. Joe Hawk fan like myself. But is he a baseball fan too?
Yes, he's a Phillies fan.
Phillies fan indeed. Okay. Well, that's good. Good answer on that one. Tell us a little bit about the Schuylkill Center, because I know you guys are celebrating your 50th year, and it's a part of Philadelphia that maybe a lot of folks don't know a whole lot about.
Yeah, so we're in the northwest section of Philadelphia. We've been there for 50 years now, since 1965. We've been providing education to the people of Philadelphia for 50 years. This Saturday is actually one of our biggest events. It's Nature Palooza, so it's the second big event for our 50th anniversary.
Matt, if you can get I don't know if you're getting a real close look at the Jackson the Owl, as the Phils try to turn to, but we'll get one there at second base. I mean, just an absolutely beautiful creature. How old is Jackson?
Jackson's about 8 years old.
How old? I'm sorry.
8.
8 years old, and been with you guys for?
He's been with us since about 7 years now. So he was a juvenile when he came out.
And you just told me an interesting fact, which I didn't know about the owls. The reason that they turn their heads around is why?
So they can't move their eyes. Their nerves in the back of their eyes are so thick they've lost the ability to turn their eyes the way other animals can. So they'd be able to turn their head all the way around to see what they need to see.
Yeah, Matt Stairs can do that almost. He can almost do that. Well, Damien, it's really great to have you here. And Jackson is thinking about moving, it looks like. Great to have you guys here. Thanks for being a part of Red Goes Green Night tonight. And let's send it back to you, Tom, in the booth.
Murph, how afraid are you of that bird right now?
I'm slightly afraid, yes.
So great. 6-4-3 double play. Hamels gets out of a jam here in the fourth inning. That Jackson the Owl was just outstanding. What a beautiful bird. Red Goes Green Night here at Citizens Bank Park. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Printer, the HP OfficeJet Pro X clocks it at 70 pages per minute. Get yours today for up to 50% off. From who? But W.B. Mason. Last of the fourth inning. Matt, how cool were those shots of the owl up close? I mean, seriously, that was like a work of art right there.
Priceless. Be awesome.
I do think it's great how scared Murph was.
Oh my Lord. I was kind of hoping they would bring it in the booth. I'd like to put on the arm, let it hold me. Or I hold it.
I was going to say, let it hold you?
Yeah, well, he's strong.
Chase Utley leads it off as we go to the bottom of the fourth, and Utley takes on the outside corner, 0-1. Utley singled his last time up.
Yeah, that'd be one strong owl if he had to hold me.
Man, if the bird can spin all the way around with its head, he can do anything. Outside and low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cozart was really looking forward to this opportunity to pitch here in Philadelphia. He said the only other time that he was here to watch a game was when he came to town to watch the Phillies play the Mets one night. when he was still a Phillies prospect. Said he remembers the game and he remembers all the fights in the stands. Utley hits it the other way. Ichiro on the run. That's slicing. Foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. By WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealers or visit DelValHondaDealers.com today. Three balls and 2 strikes.
I would love to see Chase hit a ball left center, just to stay through the zone a little longer.
Pulls that one towards second base. D. Gordon didn't have to move, and he throws him out. And 1 away. Well, Jared's journey. Jared Kozar was the 38th round pick of the Phils in 08. Traded to Houston with John Singleton, Josh Seed, and Domingo Santana in the Hunter Pence trade. And then last year was traded to Miami with Enrique Hernandez and Austin Waits. And Marisnick was one of the keys to that trade, plus a competitive balance pick from 2015. I think a lot of people were surprised that the Astros traded such a young arm. Jonathan Singleton is currently in AAA, hitting .313. He has 3 home runs. Josh Seed is in Toledo, the Tigers AAA affiliate. And Domingo Santana, who was really young when the Phillies put him in that deal, he's the player to be named later, is hitting .316 with 3 home runs in AAA. He was up last year. Singleton was up last year, hit 13 home runs. Shallow right center field. And Stanton comes in. And there are 2 outs. Here's Cody Ashe.
It's funny, he hits a home run, then all of a sudden the first pitch he sees next to bat's a curveball.
And another one. 2 balls and no strikes.
Now I know it's early in the season. Kozar, 7% curveballs. Opponents are hitting 800 versus this curveball.
Well, as you said before, most of his pitches have been fastballs. More than 80% of his pitches have been fastballs.
He throws a different type. He'll cut the fastball, 93, 94 miles an hour at times, but majority he lives down and away to left-handers. Occasional cut, and now he's starting to mix in a few changeups.
2-1 pitch to Ashe. That ball had a pretty good cut on it right there. It was 2-2.
This is where you ask the umpire to check the baseball. It's because it moves so much.
Down.
Yeah. And late.
2-2 pitch to Cody. Chops it over to D. Gordon. A lot of ground ball outs tonight. And the Phillies go down in order here in the 4th inning. So 4 in the books. Cozart, Hamels getting a pretty good battle going here as we go to the top of the 5th in Philadelphia. It'll be Cole Hamels facing Jared Cozart as we start the 5th. First pitch is on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Cozart reached on an error by Cole Hamels his first time up. That led to the run, an unearned run. And he bunts foul. It's 0-2. This ball that popped in and out of Hamels' glove. Scored some good seats. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Cozart. The Cozart, then D. Gordon, Martin Prado, 9-1-2. And a called strike 3. Well, I guess the conversation helped a little bit on that one. Time now for our Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, Matt, which 2 Marlins pitchers did Ben Davis hit home runs off in his career?
I would say Alex Fernandez and Carl Pavano.
Alex Fernandez is correct. Carl Pavano is not correct.
Dempster?
Nope.
I'm done.
Vladimir Nunez was the second one.
AKA
Vladimir Nunez.
Wasn't he a closer? Didn't he have to change his name or something?
No, that was.
Was it Nunez?
He may have changed. He may have had to change his name. That was the guy who had the really good changeup.
Yes.
That they got from the Kansas City Royals. But I can't remember his name right now. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. I'd like to thank Ben Davis for playing Jeep Stump the Fans. 0-2 to D. Gordon.
Now the next question is, do we have film or video of him hitting the homers?
We have video of him hitting a homer, I remember, during spring training, but I don't know if we have any more. Outside, 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. The umpire kicked it. Ruiz is going to have to hurry. And what a play by Howard. He picked it clean. 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
He picked it clean, and the concentration. See right here, Chooch jumps on it pretty quick because the umpire does kick it out of the way. But right here, right over the left shoulder, the concentration. Nice play by the big man. Ganicorn.
I'll be honest with you, when that ball got away from Ruiz after the umpire kicked it inadvertently, I didn't think there was a chance they would get Gordon the way he runs. But he froze momentarily. Martin Prado takes strike 1. It's 0-1. Prado 0 for 2. He's flied to right. He's grounded to third. Well, Hamels is working ahead in this inning. He's got it to 0-2 to all 3 hitters. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to Prado. Popped up, foul territory. Howard on the run. Utley's coming too, and Howard can't get it.
This is the ball you work on in spring training all the time, and Brown was just there, just missed it.
I wonder if it was more Utley's play than Howard's play.
Well, and it is. I mean, it's.
It should have been caught by either one.
Yes. I mean, the height of the ball, you know, if Chase can get there, then he's going to call Ryan Howard off and take it. I mean, that's the play that they set up in spring training with the machine. and have the communication. You know, and if Chase thought he could get there, he would have called him off.
He probably even, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but he probably thought Howard was there and was underneath it. There's a liner out towards center field. Herrera is not going to get to it. He'll play it on a hop. But that no play, as it was called, is accentuated more now because Giancarlo Stanton bats with the runner at first and 2 men down instead of leading off the next inning. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Cards and the Nats are now tied up at 5. You know, Escobar a 3-run double. That game's at the top of the 4th inning. Stanton broke his bat, his last at bat.
Well, not making that play at first base also goes now a little longer, more
Absolutely.
pitches instead of having a quick inning.
Because that's 87 pitches right there by Hamels. Pitches per inning, the 29 pitches he threw in the second. Again, it was his error that caused him to throw a couple more. But he was even working hard even before that error. Inside off the glove of Ruiz. Well, here are the home runs that Stanton has hit in his career here at Citizens Bank Park. Now, you thought last night's was long. Well, he does have that 469er to left center field. That went out onto Ashburn Alley.
I believe Jamie was calling that game when he hit the home run to left center.
Out to right field. Sizemore on the run. He's going to have a play on. Oh, he stumbled at the last moment, but still made the catch. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still locked at a 1-1 game. When the Phillies take on the Atlanta Braves. Brought to you by Citizens Bank. Fanatic Baseball Socks free to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased for all 3 games of that series against the Atlanta Braves by going to Phillies.com. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th inning. And it'll be Ryan Howard to lead it off for the Phils. It'll be Howard, Sizemore, and Galvis. 6, 7, and 8. Howard grounded out to Prado, who's on the right side of the infield. No ball, no strikes. Let me tell you, my man Marcell Ozuna is awfully deep in center field for the Marlins.
definitely a lot of real estate in front of him.
And also toward the left center field gap.
But he also plays deep down in Miami, too.
Yeah, I guess he does. Another one into the shift. Gordon in shallow right field. That is 9 ground ball outs for Cozart. And I guess it's not a surprise considering how much we've watched his fastball move down in the zone.
And he's with the late cutter as well. He's jamming some guys. You think you're going to barrel it up, and all of a sudden it breaks that last second towards the label, and either breaks your bat or you get jammed for a grounder.
Brady Sizemore takes low. 1 ball, no strikes. Sizemore also grounded out to D. Gordon. Must have been the 8% of the time right there. That should be 4 that he throws his curveball 8% of the time. Off the plate. Cozart casually fields it. And there are 2 outs. On the next edition of Phillies Clubhouse, Jerome Williams shares how he's helping the fight against cancer. Plus, Jeff Francoeur is enjoying every second in the big leagues. Watch Phillies Clubhouse presented by Mercedes-Benz tomorrow at 4:30 and 11:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
And you're not lying. Francoeur is having a blast.
He really is. Freddie Galvis 0 for 1, fly to center.
Talked a little while today about pinch hitting, different approach, how he enjoys it.
He's done pretty good in it so far this year. Man, look at that ball move. He's holding it with a little pressure on the seams. Is that how he's doing it?
A lot of pitchers will throw it different. It's hard to pick the rotation up because it doesn't have a slider type spin.
Foul ball, 2-2. He also has a little bit more of a hesitation when he comes to the plate. Trying to lull the hitter to sleep, and then boom. Swing and a miss. Galvis is struck out. Only the 3rd strikeout for Cozart, but he's humming along right now. He's retired 12 in a row since the home run by Cody Ashe. Still tied at 1 as we go to the 6th inning here in Philadelphia. Has made good during his short time in the majors. The first 2 weeks have led to 7 extra base hits, 3 stolen bases, and a walk-off memory while connecting on his first major league hit, an RBI. Odubel's start has been a good one, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, tonight Odubel Herrera does have one of the hits against Jared Kozar, but the Phillies only have 3. Fortunately, one of them is a home run by Cody Ashe. Tied this game up at 1 after the Marlins scored an unearned run. The unearned run because of the error by Cole Hamels. So now we'll begin the top of the 6th inning. Mike Morse leads it off, and he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Hamels begins this inning with 89 pitches. That last one puts him at 90. On a cool night here in South Philly. Broken back ground ball. Ashe's got it at third. Pitches per inning, and now Marcelo Ozuna, who has 2 of the 4 hits for the Marlins tonight.
And that last pitch to Michael Morris was up in the zone a little bit, but able to get out in front of it because it was a very good change of plate movement off the end of the bat. That's why he broke his bat.
The shame of this tonight, and obviously Hamels, his error has led to the 1 run, but the shame of it tonight is tonight's ball game is a lot like a lot of Hamels' starts. Over his last 63 starts, he's received a little more than 3 runs of support. Mentioned in his last outing that when he is given 3 runs or more last year, he was unbeaten.
Right.
Problem was he wasn't given 3 runs or more that often last year. Inside, 2-1.
Right there, that's a pretty good miss. I mean, it's right at the knees. A 2-1 pitch.
And that's up high, ball 4. So Ozuna's aboard for the 3rd time. Well, it's time to take a look at our T-Mobile game changer. We talked about Cole Hamels, and Hamels the lowest opponent's average against off-speed pitches. There's a changing of the guard, Matt, with the list of names. You have Hamels up top and Liriano at number 5, but then the middle 3 guys are kind of youngsters in this game. Green is pitching well for the Tigers, over from the Yankees organization. Luis Clefani from the Cincinnati Reds, and Odorazzi from the Rays. There we go again. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, and it will be interesting to see the numbers with the 2, 3, and 4 guys a few times around the order, face them a couple extra times to see what he features if they get used to it.
Brett Butler laying down the signs being given to him from Mike Redmond in the dugout. Three balls and 1 strike. It's kind of like the 2nd inning all over again, where he's having a little trouble with his command.
Yeah, he's kind of spiking his curveball, bouncing his changeup. Good pitch here.
Well, that was a good pitch. It was a changeup.
Very good. 3-1. You think you're getting a fastball cookie? There's the changeup.
Runner goes, pitch is hit in the air, down the right field line, toward foul territory. Sizemore can't hang on. Came sliding along the grass. It looked like it hit him right in the chest. And the at-bat will stay alive for the Marlins.
Good effort. He has a good jump. Slide right there. Right in the glove, it looked like.
Yeah, I was saying chest, but let's look at it again. I think you're right. I think it did hit him right in the glove.
He has it right there, then comes out.
Well, they scored a no play. That's a catch that Grady has made before. It's not an easy one.
No.
See if Ozuna takes off again. He does, and they've got him picked. Howard's throw to second base in time. Good job by Howard again to handle that throw from Hamels. And it's a caught stealing. Ozuna's retired. 1-3-6.
Well, if you want to see a manager's blood boil, you're going to see it right here. You know you cannot get picked off in that situation. Ryan does a nice job bringing it up, making a strong throw, and that's the key, is getting rid of it quick.
Off the end of the bat. Hamels can't get it, but Howard does and flips it. Not in time. Hamels is saying that he thought he got him. Real Muto, we mentioned this last night. He runs well for a catcher. He does. And he got up the line. Veteran umpire Paul Nart is the first base umpire. I'll take a look, see what you think. Foot's on the bag.
Wow.
It's awfully close. It looks like his foot's there. Boy,
I don't think there's going to be enough to turn it.
I don't know if there's going to be enough to overturn it. It's almost the same time. You know, part of me would, well, I'd say part of me would challenge it, but you know what? There may not be enough to overturn it.
Right.
And I think that's their thinking. So they decide not to challenge it. Boy, that was really close.
It's also a very nice play by Ryan Howard and Cole. Another play they work on 100 times in spring training. That in-between hop for the pitcher and the first baseman.
Well, here's Ichiro. And he takes a strike. He walked his first time up. Chopper over to short, and Galvis will hand it to Chase Utley, and the inning is over. No runs, one hit, and one man left. We head to the bottom of the sixth inning. Hamels' spot will start things off when we come back. Let's go places. Bottom of the 6th inning, Cesar Hernandez is going to pinch hit for Cole Hamels. So Hamels is done after 6 innings. Hoping that his team can score a run in this inning. It's been tough to go against Cozart. He's retired 12 in a row since the home run by Cody Ashe. Prado's in on the grass at third base. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Outside again, 2-0. Cesar on the year hitting .263, 5 for 19.
I don't mind that take right there. 2 balls, no strikes. He's only got 70 pitches. They can work a little bit.
Out toward left center field, and Ichiro will make the play. The ball sliced back toward him. Yeah, that's 1 out. Well, this kid has been very impressive today, Cozart, with what he's been able to do. You know, back on the 3rd of April, Major League Baseball announced that Cozart was going to be fined for placing illegal bets on sports. Now, the investigation came to find out that there was nothing to do with baseball. He apologized for the distraction. Here is Odubel Herrera, who's 1 for 2. Shows bunt, takes low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Right here, go ahead and be aggressive. He's been swinging the bat well this year, hitting .306.
He was aggressive, and he pounded it right off his foot. Now it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
I think that hit his back thigh.
Oh, back thigh?
Thigh.
It hit his back thigh. You're not going to see that often.
No, you're not.
Way upstairs, 3-1.
Think about that. That's hard to do. Your back thigh.
It's hard to do.
Is that Murph?
No, Murph's afraid of birds.
That's right. He's afraid.
I don't know if Murph would be afraid of that bird. I think you can have a conversation with that bird.
You know, questionable call right here, strike zone. Maybe top of the zone. Yes, maybe no, but as a rookie and as a ball player, let the umpire dictate if it's a strike or a ball. Especially a young player now throwing his bat out, kind of showing up the umpire. Bottom line is the umpire has the last say.
He's battling here, and he fouls it off. Over to third, and Prado picks it. Throws on the run for the second out. 7-pitch at bat. Ben Revere's coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Some news around the Phils. Murph?
Yeah, some news that we got this afternoon that tomorrow's scheduled starter, Sean O'Sullivan, will not be able to pitch tomorrow. Placed on the 15-day disabled list, actually, with some left knee tendinitis. As a result, the Phils have called up Hector Neris from the Lehigh Valley, the right-hander. And Dustin McGowan will get the start tomorrow versus the Marlins. I talked to Dustin today, and I said, how long do you think he can go? And he said, well, he's hopeful that he can go 3 or 4 innings tomorrow. He said, he's going to take the ball and do the best he can. I asked Bob McClure about it as well, and he said, they think he can probably go 3, maybe 4 innings tomorrow. That's what they're hopeful. But in a spot start like this, you're going to have to count on a lot of guys in that bullpen to get them through the 9 innings. But it's something Sean O'Sullivan has been dealing with, Tom. As you know, for a couple of days we saw him and talked to him in New York about it. And he was a little bit hobbled, but he really wanted to try and stay in that rotation because, he knows what a great opportunity it is for him, but he's not going to be able to do it. So they had to make those moves today.
Revere takes a strike. It's 2-1. O'Sullivan pitched in his last outing against the Nationals with a little bit of pain in that knee. And we kind of talked about it, that we noticed there was some kind of issue. He kept hopping off the mound. We thought he was just frustrated, which he may have been. It didn't look like he was going to be able to make that start, but he was really going to try to get the therapy and try to get the swelling down in order to get out on the mound. 3 balls, 1 strike to Revere. Revere 0 for 2 tonight. Swing and a miss. Well, at this point, they got to get the Cozart kid out of the game because he is just, his stuff is down in the zone. It's moving every which way. Out toward right center field. Stanton's on the run. He's not going to get it. It's going to go to the gap and go to the wall. And Revere has kicked it into high gear. He's on his way to third. Back-to-back nights. He's got himself a triple. Go-ahead run is over at third base, and Chase Utley's coming up.
Well, this is where you sit back and kind of scratch your head because 3 balls, 2 strikes. He throws him a curveball. He had a nice pause, get the foot down early, recognized the pitch, hand stayed back, drove it to right center. But your best pitch the whole night's been your fastball. So why all of a sudden you're flipping up a curveball where you're coming in to tonight's game, opponents are at 800 versus it. His best pitch is his fastball.
It's been way above average tonight.
The league hits 143 versus his fastball.
Well, it's a good thing he made that mistake because now the Phils are 90 feet away from taking the lead with 2 outs. It ends a streak of 14 in a row retired by Cozart. Utley takes for a strike. It's 0-1. Ryan Sandberg was talking about Chase Utley today when asked about taking him out of the number 3 spot. He said he hasn't even come close to thinking about it. And somebody asked Rhino, have you been in this spot before? Can you remember being in this spot before? He said absolutely. He said he was asked how he would get out of it. Utley takes high. He said, well, for me, I was always an aggressive hitter. I was not a very good 2-strike hitter. But when I was in a place like Utley is right now, where you have 1 hit in your last 23 at bats, he said I would get even more aggressive. That would mean swinging at first pitches because you're going to get a fastball.
Right.
Don't get into a count where the pitcher has the advantage. Like right now, Cozart has the advantage, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Right. Well, there's a few ways you can look at it. If your timing's off, maybe you want to see more pitches. If he thinks he has to be aggressive, then go ahead and be aggressive. But we've seen Chase over the years. He picks his spot where he swings to the first pitch.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Cozart is ready. And Utley grounds it foul. Stays alive. He went on to say that he has been productive when there's been a guy at third base. You look at his 9 RBIs. There has been productivity there.
Right.
Now, a lot of that's with a sacrifice fly. Here, you've got a runner at third with 2 outs. Sac fly is not going to do it. Low ball 2, 2-2.
It looks a little bit like Chase is fighting him a little bit to get his foot down for the right time.
Now the 3-2 pitch to Utley. Swing and a miss. He got him. 93-mile-an-hour sinker. Utley is struck out. Phillies leave one over at third. A no decision for Cole Hamels. We've played 6. We'll go to the 7th in a 1-1 game. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda Dealers game summary. It's Jared Cozart, who has 11 ground ball outs tonight. The only run he's given up is the home run by Cody Ashe, his second homer of the year. Marcelo Ozuna 2 for 2 for the Marlins. Cole Hamels will get a no decision tonight, 1 unearned run. And he's lifted after 6. He'll give way to Luis Garcia, who's been very good for the Phillies as we go to the 7th inning. Cozart is due to bat second, so it looks like his night is going to be done. Donovan Solano's in the on-deck circle. I guess this is more about a lack of offense, but I'd keep the kid out there. Your bullpen has been overworked.
Well, and it also determines what the
true.
leadoff hitter's doing if he gets on.
Echeverria leads it off, chops it back toward the middle. Galvis tries to sweep his glove. Galvis may have had a chance to even pick that and not make that sort of Olay play, but it goes down as a base hit.
Well, I think this is pretty much a do or die right here. He comes in. He actually had it. I think if he would have sat back on it and waited, he would have had no play.
Okay.
So that's the play in between where it's a do or die. And unfortunately, he came up shorthanded.
All right, here's Donovan Solano, 2 for 10 on the year. Dirt, 1 ball, no strikes. So Solano bats for Cozart, who threw 91 pitches. Chuck Hernandez chatting with the young right-hander.
kind of an interesting call, not taking Kozar out and not allowing to sacrifice bunt, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah, I would have left him. I mean, it's Mike Redmond's team, so he can decide what to do, but I think I would have left him in. I think he's being overly conservative. 1 ball, no strikes, another throw over to first. And Echeverria is back. See Garcia's numbers, 7 outings and 7 strikeouts. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second won't be in time. Echeverria steals second base. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Phillies fans, next time you're looking for great seats, get to StubHub, where there are no surprise fees at checkout. That's right. On StubHub, the price you see is the price you pay. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Phillies.com. All right, so Solano took a long look down at Brett Butler in the third base coach's box. There is 1 strike. You would have him try to sacrifice here, right?
Absolutely.
And he bunts it toward third. Foul. It's 1-2. Turned out to be a good pitch by Garcia.
That bunt was a protection bunt. So if it doesn't hit his barrel, it hits him right in the chest. This is a 2-seamer that runs up and in. Oh, he would have wore that right in the right shoulder.
And he wouldn't have been happy. He's off 2-2.
Last night, Garcia threw him 3 sliders, 3 swing and misses.
Swing and a miss. Got him with that slider there. First strikeout for Garcia, number 8 on the year. Well, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizen 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal. And that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank. D. Gordon 0 for 3. Watched D. Gordon as a youngster take a lot of ground balls at shortstop here at Citizens Bank Park. His dad Flash was a relief pitcher for the Phillies, and before he was drafted he was out there working with Jimmy Rollins at shortstop. Young man who spent most of his amateur time as a basketball player as he fouls that one off the mask of Ruiz. He's 26 years old now, drafted as a high school, graduating high school senior. And some people think that he's still learning the game. He's still figuring it out because he didn't play a whole lot of it. Giving Carlos a little extra time after that foul ball. Fouls it away, 2-2. Back toward the middle. Utley's going to have to hurry. He's not going to have a play at first. He throws behind Echeverria. And that'll put runners on first and third with one man down.
We have seen that play many times by Chase Utley.
Yeah, the most dramatic, of course, was the World Series with Jason Bartlett trying to score.
Yep.
He thought a ball had gone up the middle, and Utley threw him out at the plate. Now, that one went back to third, but it was all about Utley hoping for the element of surprise.
Well, and it's smart, and what I like about it, he knows he has no chance at first. He comes up firing. Cody Ash is aware at third base. Echeverria knows, and he doesn't even go around the base. Keeps his toe on it. Scouting reports everywhere, Tom.
Well, now here's Martin Prado, 1 for 3 in this game. Single to center field his last time up. He's grounded at third. He's fly to right. He's trying to punch that ball the other way. Well, here you go, Matt. This is what we're talking about. This is one of the greatest plays the Phillies will ever see.
Yep. Fake throw to first. Nice tag at home plate, and J.C. Romero with the old celebration with the fist pump.
And he wanted to help the umpire make the call.
All set up by that fake throw to first.
Runner goes. Ooh, that's a balk. And they're going to send Echeverria home, and they're going to send D. Gordon to second base. I think Garcia must have started and then stepped off. And it's a 2-1 Marlins lead. Marlins called it almost immediately. D. Gordon kind of called it from where he was at first base. We'll get a look at it in just a moment. So Gordon leads off second. You got to keep an eye on him. And Garcia steps back. All right, take a look.
D. Gordon takes off. See right,
yeah, right there.
He started and then.
He knew it too.
Yeah.
You figure that was the only thing it could have been, because you can take your foot off the rubber,
right.
But he started to the plate.
And stopped.
Popped up behind the plate. Ruiz off with the mask and out of room. Chris Conroy, the second base umpire, looked like he was the one who made the call right away. And then the home plate umpire, Toby Basner, signaled afterward.
One thing about D. Gordon at second base is he knows, or he's starting to get a read of the sequence of pitches that are called. So now he knows on an off-speed pitch he might be able to steal third base a little easier.
Back toward the middle. Galvis started toward the hole, but still gets to it. Throws to first in time. What a play by Freddie Galvis. What a recovery by Freddie Galvis. 2 outs.
I mean, with this play here, I'm just hoping that he can get there and knock it down.
So Gordon doesn't score.
But that's why it's our Hyundai defensive play of the game, because he gets up the middle, he knocks it down, comes up and rifles a missile to first base. I mean, this is just, I thought right there he was going to kind of eat it and make sure D. Gordon doesn't try to score. But that is why that's the defensive play of the game, brought to you by
Hyundai. Well, you know, the other thing, too, we mentioned, I mean, his initial step was to his right,
yep,
and then he had a sprint to his left. So they're going to walk Stanton and decide to face Mike Morse. First run given up by Garcia. It ends a scoreless streak of 14 innings. Yeah, there's ball 4. So Stanton will take his spot over at first.
Notice Stanton went back and got the face guard again versus the right-hander.
It's interesting that he still doesn't feel as comfortable seeing the ball from a lefty with the face guard.
I think he, with the right-hander's fastballs that run into a
that's more of a concern to him.
That's what's a concern to him. I don't think it has anything to do with the left-hander. I think he just knows that a left-hander
is not going to throw it into his
face. It's going to be really, really bad to throw up and into a right-hander up there.
Well, Mike Morse is the hitter. He's the cleanup batter. He's 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice, and he has struck out. He's up with runners on first and third, and a run in here in the 7th inning. Slider, and it's 0-1.
So here's the situation: first and third, 2 outs, and if Stanton happens to go, pretty good chance that they've put the do not throw to second base sign on.
Yeah, because if Ruiz throws through, Gordon's going to take off toward home.
Because Stanton will stop halfway to second base. You usually see that with 2 strikes.
Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. AJ Ramos, I should say, warming up in the bullpen. Off the end of the bat, Herrera out in center field. It is under it, and the inning is over. However, the Marlins take the lead on a balk. Called on Luis Garcia. His 14-inning scoreless streak is over, and now the Phillies have to play from behind. Phillies will go into the Marlins bullpen. Jared Kozar leaves after 6 innings, 4 hits and a run. WB Mason is the official office supplier of the Philadelphia Phillies. In fact, when they're going to buy a printer, they're going to go HP. Why? Because it's 70 pages per minute. That's right. Who but WB Mason. Luis Garcia gave up his first run of the year. Talking to Bob McClure. So he'll sit and watch, hope the offense can get something going against the Marlins bullpen. Marlins bullpen, Matt, has worked
A lot.
49 2/3 innings this year. Tops in the National League. They've allowed, counting last night, 29 runs. They have not recorded a save yet this year. Zippo, goose egg. 0-1 pitch to Ruiz, breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. So now Carlos behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ramos. It's back to our right and into the Hall of Fame club. Swing and a miss. Wicked breaking ball. So 1 out here in the 7th inning. 5 strikeouts for Marlins pitching. Well, tonight's Cold Hard Fact is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Phillies are looking for their 500th victory here at Citizens Bank Park, the best home winning percentage since 2004 in the National League. Cardinals lead the way with 544 wins. The Braves, I'm kind of surprised by that. The Dodgers, not surprising with their pitching staff, and then the Phils. As she takes low. Matt, the Fanatic has arrived. All is right in the world. As she rips it foul. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Don't forget, the Fanatic will be celebrating his birthday this Sunday when the Braves come to town. Justin DeFreitas was nice enough today to model the Fanatic socks that are going to be given out to all fans 14 and under. Outside, 2-1. Lots of surprises you don't want to miss. That guy may ask his dad to bring him back again on Sunday. Off speed pitch, 2-2. See DeFreitas walking around with those socks today? Looked like he's going to cut the circulation off his legs.
I didn't see that.
Said he wasn't sure if he's going to be able to get them off or not. Back-to-back off-speed pitches and back-to-back strikeouts for Ramos. 2 gone here in the 7th. That'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate, and he is the recipient of our Geico quote of the day on using last night's home run as a springboard. Hopefully it does turn it on. I'm just swinging. I'm going up there trying to have good at-bats. I'm just going out there and trying to have the same approach I had tonight and go from there. Well, here it is last night.
And the nice thing about last night is that he used the big part of the field. And by doing so, his bat stays to the zone longer. It gives him a better opportunity to stay on the pitch longer. Which he's going to have to against Ramos because he has a very good changeup.
Ball, 1 strike.
This is the situation. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ryan Howard hitting. Pretty good chance you're going to get a changeup. Think left center.
Well, he got the changeup. I think he was thinking right center. 2-2. Ken Giles loosening up in the pen. Brady Sizemore on deck. Three balls, 2 strikes. Opposite way. Foul. Boy, he just flicked that out there, too.
Yeah, he did. Another changeup.
Now, he just looked back at the home plate umpire, Toby Bassner, and asked if the pitcher's a strike or not. Kind of looked like it was a ball, but he had to stay alive.
Too close to take.
He got him with a fastball. He just struck out the side. All 3 go down swinging. We played 7. On to the 8th inning. Marlins maintaining a 1-run lead. Offers on our most exciting lineup ever. ShopNissan.com and buy McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Red goes green night. The Fanatic was joined on the dugout for his dance in between innings by the Phillies ball girls. Part of the Red goes green team here at Citizens Bank Park. Ken Giles will be the new pitcher for the Phils. Giles, 5 2/3, 7 strikeouts so far. And he will face Marcell Ozuna to lead things off. Big guns are in here because they want to keep it as a 1-run game. Slider in there, 0-1.
I find it different this year. Diekman used to be up all the time last year. But when you have one left-hander in the bullpen, you got to pick your spots.
I really thought that might change with the roster move. Hector
Right.
Neris can get lefties out because he's got a good changeup. I thought that might change just to get Diekman into being a full inning guy. I know Murph talked to Bob McClure about that today as Ozuna hits one in the air over toward Murph's vantage point. Ryan Howard is over and basket attempt. Did he make it? Yeah, he did. What a play by Ryan Howard. He made a snow cone catch right on top of a snow cone in the stands.
I mean, this is nice. The concentration of the hands from the stands, the glove, and he makes a nice little basket catch. Good concentration, not worried about the wall.
Nice job by that young lady, too, to pull away at the last moment. She was looking for a souvenir. You can see him saying that, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Real Muto takes a strike. It's going over, going, woo! Low ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Real Muto is 2 for 3. Struck out his first time up. Couple singles. One ball, 1 strike. And it's 1-2.
Nice fastball, 97.
Yeah, he's starting to get it up there a little bit, huh?
I was going to say starting to get warmer outside, but
not tonight.
Not tonight. Arm strength starting to get back.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Braves and the Mets are battling up at Citi Field, bottom of the 6th inning. The Braves lead it 2-1. 2 runs on 8 hits for Atlanta. Dylan G pitching for the Mets. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Up high again. And now it's full 3-2. And a line drive caught by Cody Ashe at third, 2 outs.
Check on Giles. Giles stumbled a little bit there and looks like he twisted his knee.
Well, here comes Sean Fakasny and Ryan Sandberg out to the mounds. He's trying to stretch it out right now. That's not a good sign right there. Ankle, knee, what do you think, Matt?
Might be his ankle. He throws a slider right here. Front foot catches.
Oh, yeah, he slipped.
Yeah.
He had the back issue in spring training. They're going to let him throw at least one here.
This is where he throw it right to the backstop.
I was going to say,
so
look out,
fine.
everybody. I think he's okay. Races on between Sean and Rhino. Going back to the dugout. Sean wins by a half step, in case you're wondering. I used to love one. Remember when Mark Anderson and Charlie Emanuel used to go out to the outfield and when Mark had the bad wheel and they used to run in? Ichiro takes a fastball in there. It's 0-1.
That went right over the tarp.
Yeah, he did. And just a bit outside. I think Ichiro would have been totally fine if that was a called strike 3.
Let's see here. Chooch, glove, strike. No.
Back toward the middle. Utley is around the bag, has it, throws, no chance. He still runs well. 2-out single. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Ichiro, does he run as much as he used to? I mean, not as much as he used to, but he's still a threat to steal bases.
I think he's a threat. I don't think he's what he used to be, obviously. But he looks like he's in great shape still.
He get down the line very quick.
Nice catch. You see 487 stolen bases, an 82% success rate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ichiro leads out to the cutout. You may get your answer. Nope. Back toward the middle, right between Giles' legs. He left that pitch up, so that'll put runners on first and second with 2 men down. Reed Brignac, who was in the on-deck circle, and they may call him back. And it's going to be Jeff Baker who will pinch hit. So they go righty on righty because I think they felt if Brignac came up, they'd bring Diekman in to face him. Diekman's been warming up, I think.
Well, no, they probably would have, but now then Jeff Baker would have come in and pinched it for.
It's true.
The lefty, and now you would have lefty-righty combination.
A little low, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, he's got to make a pitch here. You know, he thought he had Ichiro struck out to end the inning. That didn't happen. Ichiro then had an infield hit, and now a line drive single by Echeverria followed. And here's Jeff Baker, the pinch hitter, with the Marlins up by 1. Over to third, Kodiashi. Grabs it, fires. Oh, it's dropped by Chase Utley. What is going on? And the bases are now loaded, and D. Gordon will be the batter. That'll go down as the E4. It'll be a fielder's choice E4.
Oh, see, Kodiashi fields it, throws a strike to second base, and chases. Hit it right in the heel.
Right in the heel of the glove. All right, bases are now loaded. Here is Gordon. Swing and a miss. Third error of the year for Chase. Second error of the night for the Phils. Well, his velocity has been down these last few pitches. That last fastball is at 93 miles an hour. But he's at 25 pitches. And now it's 3-1 to D. Gordon. He's got nowhere to put him. Bases are loaded. Top of the 8th inning. Fly ball, center field. Herrera was playing shallow. Back to the infield. Out toward the track, and it's off his glove, and this is going to clear the bases, and if they're not careful, it may bring Gordon home. He's going to stop at third. 3 runs have scored. It'll be 3 unearned runs for the Marlins here in the top of the 8th inning. He had a long way to go, but it was a catchable ball by Odubel Herrera.
D. Gordon hits the ball well. He does a nice job going back, turns around, and like you said, Tom, it was a catchable ball. He turned the wrong way a little bit.
He's got to catch that ball.
Oh, he does. He has to catch it. See D. Gordon coming around, and like you said, they had to be careful.
Well, they've scored an E8.
Which is the right call.
I think it's definitely the right call. So no RBIs, and Ryan Sandberg is going to make a double switch here because the pitcher spot is due up third. An error by Chase Utley, an error and a big one by Odubel Herrera, and this inning has gotten away from the Phils. Two night games and then the day game on Sunday. Make plans for weekend baseball by ordering your tickets now at Phillies.com. Well, Ken Giles is charged with 3 unearned runs here in the top of the 8th inning. Darren Ruff comes on to play first base as part of a double switch. So Ruff will bat 9th and Justin DeFreitas will bat 6th, which is Ryan Howard's spot. So I guess that means that they want DeFreitas to pitch the rest of this inning and then the 9th inning and not use Diekman. Because otherwise you can just have rough pinch hit for him in the bottom of the 8th
right,
inning.
But you'd also like to have Ryan Howard on still on the field in case he comes around. He has an opportunity to hit the ball in the ballpark.
Yep. Prado hits it sharply inside the third base bag down the left field line. Another run will score. Prado's on his way to second, and he'll get there standing. It's an RBI double. So 4 runs now have scored. 4 unearned runs have scored for the Marlins. And now Giancarlo Stanton. He takes a strike, 0-1.
It's amazing what happens after a pitch that you think's a strike, called a ball, versus Suzuki. And then all of a sudden after that, 4 unearned runs, 2 errors.
Stanton went around. It's 0-2. You even go back to the inning, the second inning when they scored their run.
Right.
There was an unearned run charged to Hamels after he thought that he had the same situation.
Yep.
And it still plays they have to make.
Right.
No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Stanton looked human on that in that at bat. DeFreitas strikes him out, but 4 unearned runs score in the inning. An error by Odubel Herrera, an error by Chase Utley. Phillies down 6-1. The Phillies take on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and all fans coming to the ballpark receive that Phillies cap right there. Order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Bottom of the 8th inning, the Phils down by 5. And they will send Grady Sizemore to the plate. He'll be opposed by Brian Morris. Morris 1-0, an ERA of 3.00. Sizemore's 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second, grounded back to the mound. On the outside corner, it's 0-1. Ground ball back through the middle, a base hit. So Sizemore's aboard. Only the second hit for the Phils since the second. And Freddie Galvis is coming up. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, Barry Bonds had his obstruction of justice charge overturned today in a U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. He was indicted back in 2007 for some grand jury testimony that he had during the Balco investigation. But today, that circuit court said no go, and they've overturned that and thrown that out. But it doesn't mean it's over, because that same Circuit Court of Appeals could hear this case again as a full court, or it could even go to the Supreme Court. So Barry Bonds not completely out of the woods yet. And back to baseball news. David Ortiz hit home run 469. That one's a comebacker. And they're able to turn 2 on Freddie Galvis. Nice play by Brian Morris there. Number 469 tonight for David Ortiz. He passes Chipper Jones for 32nd all-time in Major League Baseball. Guys?
Murph, thank you. We appreciate that. David Ortiz also suspended from Major League Baseball for a game for bumping into an umpire. And the Barry Bonds thing, I had no idea that was even still going on. Here's Darren Ruff. Ruff batting for the first time. Had a chopper foul, and it's 0-1.
I don't think that Balco, that thing will ever go away.
Well, I mean, I think everybody will talk about it, but just the fact that court case, the appeal was heard now after all these years. It's remarkable. 1 ball, 1 strike to Darren Ruff. And Ruff lines one on 1 hop, picked by Prado. His side is retired. He hit it right on the nose, but nothing to show for it. Phillies go down rather quietly in their half of the 8th. On to the 9th. Marlins 6 and the Phillies 1. Go to PhilliesCamps.com or call 610-520-3400 for more information. Now, Phillies Baseball Academy includes official baseball uniform, a trip to Citizens Bank Park, many weeks and locations to choose from, a camper reunion night at a Phillies game. Jake Diekman is on the pitch for the Phillies as we go to the top of the 9th inning. So Ryan Sandberg adjusting his lineup card. Diekman get ready to go to work. Swing and a miss. No balls, 1 strike. course, is 0 for 4. And did that get him in the foot? That's a late call. It did sound like it hit him.
Yeah, it did. She hit the back foot slider.
We think it hit the back foot. It did sound like it did, didn't it?
Well, it sounded like it.
Yeah.
But would Carlos be able to catch it that easily when there's no deflection?
Well, Carlos didn't say anything, so.
Yeah.
Now Marcelo Ozuna. 1 ball, no strikes. Diekman is fighting to get his command back to where he would want it to be and where it was for most of last year.
Well, and the only way it's going to happen is he needs to pitch. He needs to be on the mound on a regular basis and get an opportunity 2-3 days in a row. That's how you lock it in. Just like hitting.
Fouls back to the screen. It's 2-2.
You know, last year you got spoiled because you had Hollins in the bullpen who had a very good rookie year.
An amazing first half.
Oh, amazing. Bastardo was there, so you had 3 lefties the whole year until Hollins got hurt.
Popped him up. Right side of the infield. Utley is on the grass. 1 out. Steve Cishek, it's not a save situation, but they're going to let him work. We mentioned the Marlins do not have a save this year. And part of that is that they only had 3 wins coming in. So Cishek looking to get some work. Fly ball, shallow right field. Sizemore. And there are 2 outs. And Ichiro will bat for the 5th time. 1 for 3 with a walk tonight.
I would almost shift the whole right side to the left side. There's a pretty good chance he's going to hit the left field on the line or on the ground.
Ball 3. It does seem like he still garners the respect of the opposing pitchers. There have been a lot of Japanese ball players that have had an impact on Major League Baseball over the last 25 years. This guy has had the biggest impacts. Ball 4, and he's aboard. He walks for the 2nd time. And it puts runners on 1st and 2nd for Echeverria. Power-wise, Hideki Matsui probably leads the way. But I think overall player, I don't know if we'll ever see anybody come over from Japan to be what Ichiro Suzuki has been.
It would be very tough to beat right there. What he's done coming over here from day 1 the Seattle Mariners. Very impressive.
At a combination, too, of offense and defense. I mean, he was a brilliant defender. He must have been incredible to watch, though, on a daily basis during his heyday.
Game changer.
I wonder how many hits he would have if he was over here in the States the whole time. Val tip 0-2.
A lot.
I mean, he would. He'd probably have. I mean, well, it depends on how long it would take him to adjust when he was younger.
Right.
He'd have well over 3,000, obviously, but he'd probably have over 4,000 hits.
Very close to it.
No balls, 2 strikes to Echeverria. Had a play down the right field line.
And by the way, if you put him in a home run contest, he would win it.
Breaking ball and a call. Strike 3. Side is retired. A walk and a hit batter. Those are the 2 base runners for the Marlins. Last chance for the Phils. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Phillies trailing it by 5. For our WB Mason deliveries of the game. Matt, these are the not so great deliveries by the Phils defense.
Yeah, and this came back in the second, and then Chase Utley throws the Cole Hamels, makes an error at first base. But all of a sudden, in the 8th inning, ground ball to Cody Ashley, makes a nice throw to second base. Chase Utley cannot hold on to that one. And then D. Gordon hits a deep fly ball to center field. And we think that he's going to be able to catch it, but off the edge of the glove, and that's why that is the not so good defensive play of the game / deliveries of the game by WB Mason.
You got it. You got it. 6-1. Marlins on top. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Steve Cishek, the closer for the Marlins, is on in a non-save situation. He's got an ERA of 19.29. And we'll face the top of the order. Well, as we just showed you, this has not been a particularly good defensive game. There was also the drop ball in the foul territory earlier that got between Ryan and Chase. Those 2 errors you saw by Utley and Herrera led to 4 unearned runs charged to the line of Ken Giles. Here's Herrera to lead it off. Herrera is 1 for 3. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. One and one.
what is it? We have the end of the month, and then all of a sudden they'll start finding people for delay a game.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
April?
Ryan Sandberg was asked about that today. He said there's been a few pitchers that have been warned about it. He said he thinks the pace of play is picked up, but he said honestly he's so engrossed in the game that he doesn't really pay attention. And there's some games that have been quicker than others. Tonight the first few innings rolled along because both starters were controlling the tempo. It got a little sloppy these last couple of innings, so that's why it slowed up. I'll be interested to see which hitters they start to fine or warn. Pitchers, I think we could probably pick it out pretty easily. Here's Ben Revere. Revere tripled his last time up. That was when it was a 1-1 game. Phillies had the go-ahead run at third base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Marlins are trying to end a 5-game losing streak here tonight. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Mets are leading the Braves 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Little bloop out towards shortstop, and it's caught by Echeverria. Coming up, Marlon Anderson will break down tonight's matchup between the Phils and the Marlins. He'll go over all those defensive plays. Only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. Two away. Day baseball tomorrow, Matt. Get to bed early. There's hockey on, but you're not going to be able to watch it all tonight.
Yes, I am.
You get another 3 overtime game. You're going to be spent tomorrow for that day game.
That's all right.
We'll have to 5-hour energy all day long. Somebody's got to bring Ben's coffee thermos for you to have during the game. Pitch inside to Utley. 1 ball, 1 strike. Out front, 1-2. Back toward the middle, and it's flagged down by Cishek, and this ball game is over. The Marlins' 5-game losing streak comes to a close. They win it tonight by a final score of 6-1. Phillies offense was dormant tonight, particularly over Jared Cozart's 6 innings. He allowed just 1 run and 4 hits during that time. So the young right-hander picks up his first victory of 2015. But tonight's ball game was more about the sloppiness of the Phillies. Our Chevrolet player of the game, well, it was Jared Cozart, who had an incredible sinker here tonight.
Well, he did. He threw 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts. And I thought his fastball had a very good movement on it. He had a lot of ground balls tonight. Retired at one time with 14 in a row, and he just had a good tempo. He had and basically with a fastball. He had a very nice cutter. When he needed to mix in a changeup once in a while, he did. But I thought, no, very nice curveball right there and a dart right there. So that's the reason why he's the Chevrolet player of the game.
All right, so the Marlins win at 6-1. They'll take game 2. We'll be back to wrap things up from Philadelphia right after this.